Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the truth and the reality of postpartum that nobody talks about. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Right after labor, I went into the postpartum room, and then like an hour or two later, they're like, the baby's hungry, ready to breastfeed. I had gone through so much that I was just kind of like, no. Thing is, for breastfeeding, you have to do it 8 to 10 times a day to keep your supply up at first, and then it gets reduced. So as a first-time mom, first time breastfeeding, I did not know how this all worked. You know, he latched on, he was feeding for 10 minutes on each breast, and they don't require a lot of milliliters once they're born. So I thought he was getting enough milk. Turns out he was not, because he was not having any bowel movements. So then that caused his jaundice level to go up, and at that point I got scared and I was like, you know what, I'd rather just start pumping right now after the breastfeeding, because I will need to know how much he's feeding to make sure that his jaundice level goes down and that it doesn't get worse and require him to get treatment. So that just shifted me over from breastfeeding. I think I breastfed for like about a day or two, and then after that I started to just breast pump. And let me tell you, it's draining, but breastfeeding is worse. But pumping is still 8 to 10 times a day. I think breastfeeding is even more times, okay? And it hurts. Aside from the fact that it hurts, it's repetitive, it's draining, it tires you out, along with everything else that you have to do. And you become the only supply of feeding the baby, then it gets overwhelming because you don't really get to rest. Aside from the fact that newborns wake up every 2 to 3 hours to eat, say at least with formula your partner can help you out. With breastfeeding, it's all you. But shout out to the moms that made it through, that are still doing it. My plan was always to only do it for 1 month because I did not see myself breast pumping either or at work. So I just wanted to get him to get the antibodies and everything from the colostrum the first couple months, and then I was going to switch over to formula anyway. But eventually my supply went down because I really just couldn't pump as many times a day, because I would try to pump and then as soon as I did, he would start crying. So obviously I had to give my attention to him and set the breast pump down, and we started just using formula, and he's fully on formula now. The connection I felt was the fact that I was giving my baby his food and nutrients from my own body, and I did feel guilty when I stopped, but you just gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. That not everything goes according to plan. Just remember that fed baby is best. The tear. So for those of you that don't know, most women tear from that area when they give birth, because you know it's just a very small area for the baby to come out of. I tore. Let me tell you, it feels, I would say, 5 times worse than a UTI, because it's sore, it's uncomfortable, you can't sit on it or anything, and it's when the urine hits that spot that it burns, and you're kind of like, I don't even want to go pee. Other friends of mine have been like, yeah, I kind of would avoid peeing at times just so I wouldn't feel it. Like, it's that painful. Not every woman tears, and there's different degrees. There's 1st degree, 2nd degree tear, and 3rd degree, which is the worst. I got 2nd degree, so I was there in the middle. So you basically can't sit or stand for too long, or you're going to make the area sore, tired out. So you really have to shift between the two. So at first I was really numb to it, and then I started to feel it more maybe 2 to 3 days after the medication wore out. I started feeling the burn, and they do advise you to use a peri bottle that the hospital gives you after you're done peeing. My suggestion is use it while you're peeing, because it kind of cancels out the pain. So this is the one the hospital gives you. You spray yourself. Try it during, and it will really help you out. It does get better daily as long as you rest. When you sleep, I believe you're going to feel more comfortable sleeping on your side. It's really important to get educated on the perineal massage. I personally never did it, so who knows if it would have helped me out, but you never know if it'll help you out. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So for me, the most helpful items for the perineal tear were what the hospital gave me. The ice pads, the large pads, itch and pain burning spray. This one really helped, as well as the witch hazel round pads. As for the Frida items, let me tell you, this to me was useless because it didn't cool anything. It didn't make me feel better. Maybe if I would have put it in the fridge, it would have made a difference, but who's gonna go to the fridge every time I gotta go to the restroom? Not me. I'll go more into details when I do my hospital bag, but basically I did a combination of ice pad once a day with the anti-itch spray and the cotton round, and it really soothed and helped. Or I would do a variation of either or. I definitely would reconsider purchasing any Frida items the following time. Okay, next let's talk about the bleeding. So the bleeding goes on for about, I say heavy bleeding, 3 to 4 days. Every day it reduces. You are given large pads by the hospital. If not, I recommend these poise pads. I switched over to those I think when I was about 1 week post hospital, because I ended up bringing some pads from the hospital as well. But they're definitely the right size, right thickness, length. So they're a little smaller than the hospital ones, but more comfortable and more stable, I would say. The bleeding is 3 times more than your regular heavy period. And the postpartum underwear the hospital provides you with are these. The Frida ones are these. So this is probably the only Frida item that I would say were worth it, but I would say save them for post-hospital. So use everything the hospital gives you and then use these. I actually stopped bleeding about a month and a half postpartum, and by that I mean like gradually went down and then turned into fluids, and then guess what, I got my period the next day. So no freebies here. Bowel movement. A lot of people are scared postpartum about the first bowel movement. Let me tell you, you don't have to be scared. Just take some stool softener. Either take 1 or 2 a day. 2 was too much for me, so 1 would do it. And you don't have to stress out about that. That's all I have to say about it. Don't stress, get yourself stool softener. Let's talk about the fact that you still look pregnant after you have your baby. Because your uterus has expanded so big, it has to shrink down. So you are going to look pregnant, but week by week, the swelling's going to go down. You're still going to have a little tummy, but that's okay. It's normal no matter what people tell you. So what I did, I think 4 to 5 days postpartum, I started wearing these underwear. This is like old lady type underwear. No offense to old ladies. They really helped with tightening the abdomen area and helps reduce the swelling. So you guys might want to invest in these. These were gifted to me, so I'm not even sure where they were from. But then from this, you're supposed to move on to a waist trainer. I had a little complications with that because my waist trainers that were gifted to me didn't fit me. I was bigger than that. So then I purchased this waist trainer from Amazon. I was actually a size XL instead of a size large because of all that extra skin. So you might want to size up on that. Next, I want to talk about sleep deprivation. So everyone tells you that you're not going to sleep, but they don't tell you why. The reason why you're not going to sleep it's not for a couple of days. It's unless you're lucky, obviously, but let's say worst case scenario, it's gonna be because your baby eats every 1 to 3 hours. Within those hours, the baby could be asleep, fussy, or you kind of want to get stuff done, spend time with your partner. And from our personal experience, since the day that we checked into the hospital, we have not slept a full 8 hours. The most we've slept, I think, is 5 hours straight. You don't have privacy in the hospital. Someone's coming in every 1 to 2 hours. That carries on to postpartum at home. So it's really hard to sleep. It does get better as far as the baby does start sleeping more when he starts eating more. So you kind of just have to hang in there or ask for help. Maybe ask someone to take care of them, take care of the night shift, and then you get to get your sleep, because you do want to try to rest so that you have the energy to take care of your baby's needs, figure out what they need, because when they're brand new, you're both brand new to the situation, you're both learning from each other, they're learning from the world what it is to not be in your womb, and you're learning what their cry means and all of that. Be prepared mentally that might be what you're gonna go through. Mental health. Aside from all the emotions and what you go through when you're in labor, all those hormones produced those 9 months were so high, and then they drop very low once the baby is outside of your system, and you may experience baby blues or postpartum depression because of that. There could be literally nothing wrong, and you just I don't know, you feel down. Personally, I did experience that. Obviously, we were so happy about the baby, but aside from the baby, and it doesn't change the fact that you're happy and you're in love with the baby, but all the stress from postpartum in combination with, you know, the jaundice, the sleep deprivation, the pressure of not really knowing how to attend to your baby at times can get to you. Another thing that affected me was the dependency, the fact that I couldn't bend down for 4 to 6 weeks. Like you drop something and someone has to pick it up for you, and there wasn't anything I could do because you gotta heal. With my mental health being all over the place, I did want to go out and do things for walks or go out to eat. Then you gotta remember you're recovering, so you can't do much. So being at home stuck in just a room can be very mentally draining and suffocating. Pandemic, the fact that people can't come visit you can be just stressful too, because you know you want to share the baby with your family and your friends, but you can't. That kind of also affects how much help you can actually get. We started taking walks or going on drives, and that really helped me out, because being in the room sitting just wasn't for me. And they say you should stay home for 40 days postpartum. I didn't even have that chance, because since the baby had the jaundice situation, we literally had to go back to the hospital to an appointment either every day or every other day for like 1 or 2 weeks until it was confirmed that he was okay, the jaundice was out of his system. So I never even had the choice to just stay home. Once your partner goes back to work, it can get lonely and a little more stressful because it is all on you. So that kind of affects your eating schedule. There were days when I would eat once a day, or I would eat at 8 a.m. and then again until 10 p.m. I would hold in my bladder for 4 hours. Wouldn't sleep, couldn't do anything for myself, couldn't shower. It was just a lot because everything revolves around the baby. So it affects your previous lifestyle, and you really just shift into being a new mom and being a provider and putting someone's life before yours. Another thing is the unsolicited advice. It's actually rare if people tell you you're doing a good job. Everyone's so focused on telling you what to do with the baby, they don't maybe grasp the concept that you want to do your own thing or apply what you've been educated on. And that also plays into the role that you get so much attention when you're pregnant from the doctor, from family, from friends, from the public, from strangers. And then once you're postpartum, after going to maybe that traumatic experience, really just left there like it's really all about the baby. No one's checking in. The best advice I ever got from one of my clients actually was everyone's gonna tell you what to do with your baby. Make sure you do what's best for yourself and your baby. Communicate, ask for help with what you need specifically. Take it easy. Definitely, if you're watching this, make sure you check in on your friends, your mom friends, new moms that have kids already, because they'll tell you they're good, but they could be going through a lot because nobody talks about it. It's really just this idea of you're gonna be happy automatically once you have your baby, but nobody talks about how hard it is. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I hope that I brought light to any future moms, not to scare you guys, but so you have a realistic aspect. You can educate yourself, prepare yourself for this very important phase in your life. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.